Voel, as you reach the door to the science bay, immediately run up to it and it's locked.
To be clear, I don't think I would have locked the public-facing door.
Okay, so you've locked your office.
Yeah, or the operating theatre, whichever one I'm in. But like, I understand people would need to be able to get in and out of the actual med bay part.
In that case, Voel, you're able to enter into the science bay, and with the help of Whiffy, get Ark's body up onto a table, like an operating table of sorts.
Do I know Algenon's in his office? Like, am I able to tell the door is locked, or?
I would probably say, Algernon, you can correct me, I think it's pretty obvious that you're kind of locked yourself in because you don't want people to disturb you.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time I've done this, and like it's rarely.
Does he have like a sock on the door handle?
Yes, that's right. We're in an age of technology where we can travel through space, yet couldn't really perfect that specific technology. The sock is the best method.
Mate, sock will always be the best method.
Yes. Like, I mean, first of all, I'm almost always here. And second of all, it's not the first time I've locked myself away in either the office or the operating theatre.
And I think Trell got here first, so as you're coming in, Voel, you see Trell just banging on the door for Algernon's office. Algernon, you definitely hear banging at the door. And then you hear a large, like, thump and scatter of equipment falling to the ground.
That would get his attention.
Yeah. So like the initial like banging would have been like I'm just like working through it, and then I hear like the equipment get knocked over, and like I stop and I'm gritting my teeth, like just staring ahead of me. Just
a single test tube shatters.
Whiffy's just gone full, like, angry panda and just, like, pushing shit off tables, just staring at Algernon.
I think that makes sense. I think he's probably come in, brushed everything off the table, and then we've put Ark up on the table.
Yeah. He's probably, like, thinking to himself for a few seconds as to, like, is this research that important, or do I have time to, like, rip someone a new one for, like, 10 seconds for breaking my shit and kicking them out?
You hear a very muffled, "Get out of here, you idiot."
Followed by a
idiot. And the slapping of angry sign language.
When I hear Voel's voice saying, "Get out here, you idiot," I let out a deep sigh and put my things down and walk over to the door.
And then lower the shades. Will not be disturbed.
The blinds, the external blinds drop down.
I'll open
we install shutters.
Open the door just to like replace the sock with one of those hotel do not disturb hooks. Yeah, I'll open the door and swing it open rather violently.
It startles Trell a little bit, who's standing right at the door knocking, and he's only short, so he's going up to your thighs. He's 3 foot. Looking over, you see a passed-out Ark now resting on one of the operating beds.
Okay.
What kind of doctor are you? Took so long to get you out here. I found him in the landing bay like this. Don't know how long he's been there for. Well, they found him, and I gestured towards Trell and Chewbacca.
So I walk over to one of my toolkits sitting on the nearby like benches. And I start rifling through, saying, "What doctors have you met that have not kept you waiting?" I then pull out what looks something similar to, like, guess, what you'd see jewelers...
Sorry. That line was too real that I was like, God damn it.
I hate you, dude.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, out of character...
No, you're right.
I heard you say that.
God damn.
Out of character, I heard you say that. I'm like, that is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, are you kidding me? What kind of doctor leaves a patient waiting? What kind of doctor can afford to not? I don't know what you're talking about.
Voel comes from a rich family. He gets precedence. He's never had to wait for the doctor.
Oh, great. Privileged bird.
I pull out this, it looks similar to like what you'd see, like a jeweler have, like a little like telescope thing, like a really short one that they put in the eye. But it's using different lenses, a little trinket I modified when I had more resources back at the coop that kind of like allow me to view like traces of the way, or like, the way that the fields bend, I suppose, as I would say some precursor artifacts, or I guess most precursor artifacts, like do somewhat interact with the way in odd ways that defy laws of what we understand as those physics, I guess. Is that something that's permissible, Xeno? Does that sound...
100%. I think
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Cool. So Algeron's already jumped to the conclusion that like it's probably something way related because it's Ark, and it's probably something serious because they have bothered to drag him all the way here, which didn't look easy.
Well, you didn't see that part.
And I think, Algernon, you would definitely recall it was you and Ark in the landing bay as you were leaving the coop. Like, Ark was the last one in the landing bay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
What are
that's
you
right.
trying to do?
Okay. Well, I'm using my tool to kind of like assess the fields of the way around Ark's physical body. Obviously, I've done relatively extensive physical and incorporeal assessments of both of these crew members in the amount of time that we've been together, which hasn't admittedly been that long, but like, you know, this is what I am doing every waking moment. So I do have a bit of a baseline for what I can expect Ark's like field of the way is meant to look like.
Yep, that makes sense. It's going to come down to the dice roll, I think. So I'm guessing you were wanting to do a doctor roll here.
Yeah, which I think it makes good sense in this specific instance.
It would, yes. I think your new ability would kind of kick in a bit as well.
Yes.
Although he's not quite a corpse yet, but, you know, he's close to it.
Also, it's not technically a crime scene, but I am trying to get information for something that I don't understand has happened,
Yep.
so I guess it...
Yep,
yeah.
I'll allow it.
Also, doesn't stop him from treating him like he's a corpse, to be fair.
True. All right.
Let's dissect him.
So you've got 2 dice there. If anyone wants to try and help, they can to give you an extra dice, and you've also got a gambit to use as well.
I will help by staying on the table.
I have less than no idea what he is doing right now, so I'm just going to be like, yep, you're the doctor, you got this.
Well, I might use the gambit for this one, then.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. Alright. So I'll use the last gambit
So will I.
to... Thank you. Well,
You're welcome.
to bring my dice up to 3.
Cool. 3 dice. This is... we're going to go risky standard.
Risky standard... Wow. Okay. That is a 5.
That is a 5.
The other 2 were not very good.
Alright, I'm going to introduce a complication on this. As you are looking at this, how close to Ark do you think you need to get to, you know, get that presence? Because if you're saying like a jeweler's eyepiece kind of thing,
Well, it is a jeweler's eyepiece that I've modified. So, like, it was just that I only had enough lenses for one eye. So, like, I don't necessarily think that the magnification's such that I need to be close. It's just that I only had enough for one eye's worth. So I guess I'd be, like, using it maybe, like, you know, 5 feet away at most. But I would have no reason to, like, stay away from him, so...
true. I think in this one, I think you also take the time to look at his eyes. Like, that's usually an indicator of what, you know, the dilation of pupils and stuff. Looking through your lens, whatever is affecting Ark is definitely wave-based. There is a flurry of way activity flowing through him. You don't see it without the eyepiece, but like looking into his eyes, you can see they're also glazed over in like shimmering blue. Without the eyepiece, they just look normal. Whatever has affected Ark and has put him into a coma is very much an overload of way energy.
Okay, an overload. What do I know about the way and how it affects physical bodies when there's too much?
It doesn't affect the physical as much as it affects the mental. This is basically frying his brain at the moment. If he doesn't wake up, he may not wake up.
I look him over, I see just like the sheer magnitude of extra fields of the way coursing through his body, and I see his eyes glazed over, and I say, whatever he's done to himself, he's pushed himself too far. If we don't manage to bring him back, the damage could be permanent.
And I said I was going to introduce a complication to this.
Was that not the complication?
No,
No.
that was the facts. The complication is, and that you're unaware of, inside his brain, Ark is trying to wake himself up by jolting himself awake. While you're doing this investigation and you say that, Ark suddenly lunges forward towards you guys. He's still unconscious, he is still in a way-based coma, but something has tweaked and he's lunged towards you.
I am getting out of the way.
Can I add to that if that's okay?
Certainly, go for it.
I'm going to mix in a little bit of one of my special abilities, kinetics, where I effectively propel myself forward, like at superhuman speed. So when he says I shoot up, I shoot up.
Oh, that's neat.
Nice.
That's a nice touch.
Like, I have no control over that, but it's way based, yeah.
In your way space, like you're doing this yourself to try and wake yourself up, and it's inadvertently happening in the real space.
Yeah, I am getting out of the way as much as I can. He can crash into a wall for all I care.
Algernon?
So with his first lunge upwards, I double back and obviously fall onto my ass. I assume he shoots upwards and then like falls back onto the table. Is that how it works in terms of the jolting?
Ark, is that what you like? Or are you leaping towards a wall?
I mean, I'll leave that part up to you, Xeno, if you want to say that I, like, sat up.
I'll let you decide.
Okay.
What you choose will judge how I'm going to get the others to react to the roll.
I would have shot straight up in the air. Like, it wouldn't have been me getting up and sitting up off the table. It would have been my body literally just yeeting up into space. Like, from my perspective, I went forward. In your perspective, I shot up off the ground. Like, still on my back kind of thing.
Fuck it, doctor, we need an exorcist.
But I assume what's going to happen is, like, the first time it happens, he falls back onto the table while Voel moves out of the way and I get knocked back. The second time it happens, he probably goes a bit higher, and I think he'll fall onto the bed and break it. Because it's like, it's like one of those stretchers, right?
Oh, I would most definitely break it then.
Yeah, like collapsible and that kind of stuff. So it like breaks the thing that's holding it in place and just like fucking collapses onto the floor.
Love it.
Which, if there was any of my equipment still intact underneath, it's fucked now.
Alright, because you're taking on this damage, I'm going to increase Ark's coma clock by 1. So he is 1 step towards waking up. I think the impact of him landing back on the table is kind of inching him awake.
So I would have no indication that he's trying to wake himself up, right?
No. You don't know what's happening on in that brain.
But I do know that I do need to wake him up.
Correct.
Okay. I say, like I just gesture to everyone, try and keep him in place. I'll be right back. And I get up and walk back into the operating theatre.
Alright. As you walk out into the operating theatre, Ark,
Yes.
you're looking yourself, noticing that you don't have those details anymore. You're losing what it is to be you.
Yeah.
Looking around, this space seems old, like a worn leather couch where things have been like fading. There's maybe like scratch marks here and there. That's the impression you're getting from the space around you. This is not a clean, pristine space. This is something that's old, weathered, worn. The figure that you reached out to speaks to you again. You need to help us get out of here.
I tried during the visions, but at this point, since I'm sort of more absorbed in the space, do I recognize the voice any more clearly than before? Like than the last time I tried?
It's definitely getting clearer to you. It is a familiar voice, but you don't quite know. If you want to get a dice roll to try and pick it, you can.
I am happy to. There is another thing I was going to try, which could also kind of mentally hop, skip, and jump towards who this person might be.
Sure.
If that's the case.
Go for it, give it to me.
So I'll kind of explain that first, yeah? So as I'm feeling myself losing myself in the space and kind of seeing that this is a worn out space, slightly, not ecstatic, but like there's been a lot of energy, there's been a lot of reactions, there's been a lot of like power and movements and reactions to this kind of space, whether it's a prison or whether it's just where someone's been held or where they've found themselves stuck. People have reacted to being in this place.
Yep, and it's left wear and tear on the space itself. Yep.
I'm trying to find a way to anchor myself mentally and spiritually, and I've stumbled upon trying to find anything visually. Not having done that, I try to think back to what my former teacher had told me a few times in a way of getting control of myself and my surroundings, whether it was in relation to the way or otherwise. And I try to sort of meditate in a very specific pattern that was both a way for me to find and see and interact with the flow of the way around me, but then to also step back from it and actually interact with the way away from the way itself. So as a way to get myself out of this vision. In that sort of thinking, in that sort of aim and meditation, do I have a greater chance of picking up that this might be Horrocks, my former teacher, or is that also not it as well?
Well, let's get a dice roll out of it.
8.
See what you can make of the situation.
Is this another attune, or would this be more of a consort? Because I'm potentially...
You tell me, which one would you like? Which one do you justify it being?
I'm less trying to figure out who this person is in that exact moment and more trying to use my background, like my heritage, like my actual backstory to get more of control of my current situation.
Okay.
So it'd be consort.
Yeah, I'm happy with consort. I will pitch you an idea as well.
Okay.
Just to keep in the back of your mind. The space you're in, there is a lot of souls here.
Yeah.
I think you have an idea of how you got here. But one question you might be asking yourself is, how did they get here?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, these things are blending in. It doesn't feel like they are masters of the way. These are just souls, and they have to come from somewhere. But for this one, let's get a consort roll.
Okay.
As you fall back on your training and meditating.
Okay. Thankfully, better than last time. I got a 3 and a 6.
That is a 6. That is good. Okay. I didn't tell you what the risks were, but we'll assume it was risky standard again.
Yeah, fair.
I'm going to increase your coma by 2.
Sweet.
So you're now at 3 of 8 to waking up.
Mm-hmm.
As you enter into this meditation, one thing you're thinking is it might be a former trainer of yours. This figure doesn't have a feeling of authority over you.
Yeah.
As you're doing this meditation, something that you've been taught, the figure in front of you does the same thing.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me a little bit about Blish, who is a fellow mystic from your past.
Ah.
Just give me some basics, like who were they? What race were they?
Blish was a sort of like ambiguous individual who, I guess visibly you'd see more long dreadlock style hair going long past their waist. So almost as tall as they are. They wouldn't be anywhere near as tall as me. They'd probably be closer to maybe 6 foot. Additionally, let's just say I don't have a name for it right now, but their species seems to be more of like a gelatinous humanoid sort of perspective, or humanoid sort of looking individual, but a more of a gelatinous body itself. They have a tendency to wear more religious garbs and things like that, while still holding themselves as prim and proper as they can. So despite their body and their actual corporeal form, they'd have a lot of jewelry, a lot of clean vestments and things like that on them.
Cool. And in this moment of reflection, meditation, I think you start to see some of those features come through. What was the abstracted figure is now starting to take on a more humanoid shape with the dreadlocks, with adornments of a religious figure. And they say to you, it's about time that you start seeing me. We need to get out of this place. And back in the real world, Ark's body seems to calm down. It relaxes. It is still unconscious.
I slowly lower the broom I armed myself with.
Good, lower it to the floor and clean up the fucking mess.
You clean up the fucking mess. This is your lab. I don't know why you left it this way.
Well, previously leaving, Algernon left the room to go get something.
Oh, yeah.
That is correct, yes.
I feel like he would still just be like mumbling that from the other room, regardless of whether or not he knows I have a broom. Like the crashing settles down, he goes, "All right, clean up the mess now."
You got time to cower. You got time to clean. Yeah, so I did go into the other room. I come back with a couple of syringes and a portable defibrillator.
Is this the return of the air embolism?
Oh, yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah, let's just kill him off quick.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
I mean, Deshaun's been wanting it for many, many episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the humane thing to do. If you can't afford the vet bills, you got to put them down.
Oh, God.
I put them on the bed next to the broken one and pull one of the syringes already drawn, mostly full with, I mean, I guess it's something like similar to like epinephrine or adrenaline is the idea.
That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to shock him awake with medicine.
Yeah, but he's physically quite large, so he does need a bigger dose. So that's why I brought 2. And if that fails, I'm going to just electrocute him.
Cool.
Straight polar bear meth. Let's go.
After this, we've got to start cooking.
I've already had polar bear weed today, to be fair, so...
But before he injects him with stuff, I try some smelling salts that I have in my pocket.
Alright, so I'll be Shimmering trying to doctor him awake.
Well, I want to see how the smelling salts go first.
They smell great.
Excellent.
Those are not the right smelling salts, then.
It's just one of those little sachets of salt that you get from the drive-thru.
God.
I have a bag of tea that I've opened up.
But in all seriousness, do you want to try the smelling salts?
I genuinely want to try the smelling salts before we inject an unknown amount of adrenaline into our polar bear.
It's unknown. I'm very aware of how much is in here.
He's a doctor, he knows what he's doing, he says, as his final words.
He says in the third person before he stabs you.
Yeah. As I said, as my body died at the hands of Algernon.
So, we've got 2 options here we can do. We can do a group roll.
Oh.
In which you both roll and will combine the outcome, so you're both kind of doing things at the same time. Or, Voel, you can make your roll first, and then see how any consequences go after that.
Oh.
Yeah, so I will say this now. I have no points in Doctor.
I don't think you really need to have any sort of medical skill to apply smelling salts, to be fair. Although I don't know what you
Voel
would
doesn't
roll.
know that.
Yes, but we don't know what Voel can actually do with them.
Yeah,
Voel
like
shoves them up my nose.
Panics and starts trying to
Try and
shove
put
it up
it
his
on.
nostril.
I pour it into his mouth. Is this how it works? My species smell with their tongues. I was told this was a suppository. Turn it over.
All
I
right,
reckon
what
I
are we
do have
doing?
a tiny little panda tail as well. Just the tiny...
So while I think... So the image I have of this is while Algenon is trying to like set up all of his sciencey stuff, I'm going to be trying to be like, while he's doing that, like have a whiff and see if we can avoid injecting him with the giant needles needed to get through the bear skin.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
Does that work? Does that work for you, Doc?
Well, I mean, out of character, yeah, sure. In character, I'm busy getting my syringe, so, you know.
In character, he's
All
like,
right.
why didn't I think of that first?
All right. Voel, give me a doctoring roll. We are still risky. I'm going to give you a limited on this one.
No fish out. Does my bruise affect this, by the way? Because I'm still bruised from last.
Oh, you are,
from
yes.
last time, yeah. I've got a bruise on my arm, like and I miss his nose.
All right.
Shove smelling salt in my eye.
If your little bruise is the reason he doesn't ever get out of a coma.
Wow. So what happened to the last guy? Don't ask.
Ooh, you can't push yourself either, can you? I'll give you an offer here, Voel. So your bruise will affect this, which means you're going to get a nothing output. Unless you want to bump this up to a desperate roll and get a limited effect.
You know what? I go to reach up and my bruise is like and I drop the smelling salts on the floor and then we're just gonna leave it at that. I think.
Yeah, we thought Voel was going to escape by themselves. Bullshit.
We're working with inaccurate data. We thought that we were working with Voel at his absolute best, but no, alas, he is injured.
You don't know what I've been through, man. I have a bruise.
Put down the delicious food and save me.
I'm still trying to eat my porridge.
Yeah, no, he's got the castle like feeding him because he can't lift the spoon above his
He
shoulder.
instead puts a bit of salt into his porridge. He's like, makes it taste better.
I've got a band-aid over the bruise, like that's gonna help.
All right, Voel, so you're just dropping the salts on the floor?
Yeah. So like, I will go to put it to his nose, and then I'll remember the pain of the bruise. I stretch my arm too far, and I like twang, and I end up like dropping it onto the floor and not being helpful.
Without like looking away from the syringe that I'm like kind of checking the volume of and that kind of stuff. I hear it hit the ground and say, "You'll be cleaning that up as well."
I step on the vial.
Just a quick sidebar. Outside of the game, Lexi, have you ever actually been bruised before in your life?
I have, but Vol's got like little noodle arms.
Okay. I'm just like, I've never, like, I've been bruised, but bruised to the point where I physically can't reach up and do something.
Okay, well,
That made me
I'm trying
question
to
that
make it fit. I'm trying to make it fit the mechanics, all right? It's a big bruise.
I genuinely questioned your life experience just then.
To go along this thought exercise, if you put a band-aid on feathers, does it hurt taking them off?
Just rips out a bunch of feathers.
The feathers fall out on their own. I don't actually pull the band-aid off. Just wait for the feathers to fall out, and then I can move on.
That sounds very effective, yes.
Yeah, it's not. We don't need band-aids.
That's why you keep finding feathers all over the ship.
with band-aids stuck to them.
All right, Algernon. Voel has dropped a bunch of smelling salts on the floor. You've come in with your syringe and defibrillator.
Yes.
Would you like to give me a doctoring roll to administer this?
Yes, so I am thinking, I've got 2 dice. I think we've established that Voel is not going to be any help. Is that correct, Voel? Is that accurate?
I'll try and help.
If anything, is more of a hindrance at the moment.
Yeah, you'll lose dice if I try and help.
I'm just trying to think of...
I will attempt to like hold him down if he's still like, he's calmed down a little bit, but like, is he like completely still, or is he still like jittery and moving around at this point?
He's calming down. But, you know, if you want to help by holding him down, you can take a point of stress and do that and give an extra die to Algenon.
Is it a single point of stress?
Yes.
Okay, I can add 1 stress.
Oh.
Okay, and I will do that. If you hit me, so help me God.
I have no control over this right now.
Thank God he can fly.
I can't fly.
Okay.
I'm a flightless bird.
One of us can.
All right, so you got 3 dice so far.
Yes.
This, for yourself, will be a risky standard roll.
Okay.
Let's see. Do I have a devil's bargain for you?
Can I push myself?
You can, if you'd like.
I like the devil's bargain that you've mixed up the vials.
He injects the vial from the doctor.
So I had an idea for a devil's bargain, but I think since I have got like no stress at the moment, I'm happy to push myself. And that's
I
4
want to
dice.
hear your idea for a devil's bargain.
Well, I was gonna say for an extra dice, I would be administering both syringes at once at a more I guess risky attempt to shock his system at the risk of probably doing some harm to the body. But it doesn't actually affect me at all, so it's not really that much of a risk.
I'll counter your devil's bargain here. If you do this, the devil's bargain here isn't that you're jabbing him with 2 concoctions. I think you're a smart enough doctor that you know exactly how much to put in. I think the devil's bargain here is this is your last thing available on the ship that could wake him up. So if this does not work, you're going to have to get outside help. And I'll not only give you the extra die, I will bump it up to greater effect as well.
Ooh. Okay.
I give a third and possibly just asinine devil's bargain to throw in there.
Go for it.
You have a body in front of you that you know has reacted to pre-thingy artifacts. you have a vial that potentially has a few.
I did consider that as well.
Yeah. How obsessed are you?
Yeah.
Is my question. Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, if you really want to test the friendship, you're going to be very disappointed at the answer for that one.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm putting the thought out there because I think it'd be hilarious content.
Oh yeah, no.
All right, your choice. 2 devil bargains. We'll mark off 2 points of the vial of murky water to get the extra dice and the greater effect, or the consequence of this being the last resort you have available to you on the ship with the same outcome. Extra die, greater effect.
I think, at the very least, I will definitely take one of these devil's bargains instead of pushing myself. Even though pushing myself really has no real downside to me at this stage, it just sounds way more narratively fun to be doing the devil's bargain. So I'll be doing one of those.
Also, don't forget, spending stress, you will have that going into your next job.
Yeah, that's
unless
true.
you get rid of it.
Yeah.
So, yes, even though you have all your stress available, you don't want to be spending too much before going into a job.
That is true. I'm going to go with the devil's bargain. It just sounds way more fun.
Which one would you like to go with?
I think right now
Do it.
makes more sense that it's all the adrenaline or epinephrine or whatever you call it I have on hand, because I only carry it for emergencies such as this, and this is enough for 2 normal people, maybe 4 Avali and or Kexels, but only 1 Yugua.
Okay, so that brings you up to 4 dice.
4 dice.
Another consideration, if he dies here, you do get that Yugua spine that you wanted from before.
He gets a matching one for the one he's already got.
Yeah.
Whiffy's right there. Just fucking rip it out of there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was have the matching set. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, I dropped the syringe.
Adrenaline and the syringe, all the vials.
All right.
Oh, no.
Voel, you've taken a point of stress for the assist.
Yeah.
This is a risky with a greater effect. Would you like to give me your dice roll?
Okay. Pray for me, boys.
3
All
sixes,
ones.
let's go.
1 6.
Single 6?
Single 6, yes.
Single 6. Okay. Going to increase the coma count by 3.
Ooh, almost there.
So you're 2 points away. You administer these shocks, Arc. While you're in this meditative space, you feel a sudden jolt to your chest. Really empowers you and pumps you up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Algernon, as you're pumping this out, this adrenaline and whatever other concoction you've put together, you see the whole body kind of like lifts up and down again. It helped. It didn't quite get there, but you think you're very close. You might need some outside help to get it across the line. Be that a friend, illegal contacts, or even just a hospital. You think you need that extra bit of help. But what you've done has helped immensely.
Okay.
We could take him back to the coop.
What's left of it?
Turn it around. So does that mean that I do not think there's any chance that the defibrillator would help any further?
No. So with a devil's bargain, you think you've used up all your options here on the ship.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Can I just slap him and see if that wakes him up?
If you'd like.
I mean, it might work, right?
Good.
Oh, but I've got a bruise.
Yeah, you may lose that fight.
But your medical expertise, Algenon, is like, you're so damn close to getting him awake. Like, it wasn't for naught.
Yeah, okay. I examine him again using my little microscope thingy. We don't know what we call it. Really should figure out a name for it. And while the fields of the way are still quite very much surging, your actual vital signs seem a lot like your brain is more responsive, I suppose. So I turn to Voel and I say, we've unfortunately done all we can here. We need to get him some help elsewhere.
Wait, have we still got that way artifact hooked up to that thing that made him do that weird stuff when we were planet side?
We do, yes. If I thought it a wise decision to try and mess around with those artifacts while he's in this state, I assure you, I would be the first to suggest that.
So you don't think it'll work?
You can always give it a try, Alexi.
He is the expert. I kind of want to run it by him first.
No, I sincerely do not think it will have any positive effect to help him wake from this coma.
Okay. I just thought maybe, because it kind of put him into a similar kind of coma and back out again, right? Or like a trance more than a coma, but...
Out of character, yeah, it was more a trance. But yeah, I feel like using something like that would probably have an opposite effect. I think that would further sever his connection to his body rather than pull him out of the coma. Just personally. And plus the Devil's Bargain does mean that we've kind of ruled that out as an option.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, do we know... I kind of turned to Whiffy for this one. Like, do we know any like Yugua doctors that might be able to help with this in this sector? Just nod if yes.
He nods.
All right, come with me. You're gonna show me on a map where to go. We're gonna go there. Does that work? And I turn this question towards Kentucky as well.
Literally the only carrier pigeon that can't carry a message. It's ridiculous.
Tell me about it.
In character, Algernon says, yes, that'll have to do. Time is definitely more important than quality right now. We just need more supplies.
All right, well, you keep him awake. You come with me. And I go towards the cockpit.
Thank you for listening to Dark Cosmos. Don't forget to like and follow the channel so you can keep up to date when we release our next episodes. And if you haven't done so already, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback. Background music for this episode was from Sasha End. Opening banter and credits music by Festlian Studios. Sound effects by Zapsplat.com. And character art by Handoc. All the links are in the episode description.